Hey guys, Nathan here with By the Bay Sports. As you guys will notice, we have finally got somewhat of a logo. I don't know how long I'll be keeping that. Might be making another one here lately or later on. Don't know when, but we will have that. But it looks pretty cool to have as an intro into the show now. So that's pretty cool. Guys, as you noticed, I'm wearing a baseball hat with a team on it. My team, the Atlanta Braves shirt, and our hat, or one of our hats. You know what that means. The 60-game MLB season starts next Thursday evening. No fans will be in the stands, unfortunately, but we will have it on TV. And that's a blessing for all of us to be able to finally have our baseball back. The first game will be the New York Yankees at the defending world champion Washington Nationals. It will be a pretty good game. Pretty sure we'll finally see Garrett Cole in pinstripes, but it won't be in actual pinstripes. It'll be in the Yankees away uniform. And we'll see how he does against the Nationals. I'm pretty sure the Nationals are either throwing Strasburg or Scherzer or Patrick Corbin. One of those three guys will be starting to go against Cole, and we'll see what happens there. My Braves will be the third game, which will be the next day on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central on ESPN. We'll be playing at the New York Mets, and we'll go from there. So there's a lot of good matchups. As you guys know, the MLB's plan is they're doing 60 games. Each team is playing according to their region. So NL East is going to play 40 games of their division, and the other 20 games will play the AL East. So, and that will go for this AL and NL Central and the NL and AL West. So same thing goes for all of them, 40 games and then 20 games interleague with the same regional American League division. So, that being said, we are happy that baseball is finally getting back. Some news for you. A lot of guys have opted out. Some of those guys are some headliners. Ian Desmond of the Rockies. One player on the Braves that probably won't start, but he did have COVID, but he's now back, is Freddie Freeman. But he will not probably be starting on opening day. He's got to get back into some game shape because he hasn't actually been at practice since the camps started. So Ian Desmond's the one name that was out. Freddie Freeman will be back, but don't know when. Nick Markakis, the Atlanta Braves, decided not to play. So there's going to be a list of guys that are not playing, but are going to do it. Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants is not playing. That's kind of okay for him because him and his wife are adopting two twin baby girls, I think, newborns, and he's making a family decision, which in my opinion is kind of smart. So with that being said, baseball is back, and all that's going to be awesome for all of us as we get to sit and watch our teams play. We don't know how good they're going to be. Most teams are going to probably be rusty. It's kind of weird opening days in July and not in spring. But the best part is you won't have to worry about any cold games. So I bet you the northern teams are happy about that. So we'll go from there. So here's the other thing. Here's the other bit of news. So now on to what's else next. All right, let's go to college football. So college football, there's been some debate whether to have fall sports or not. I do know that the National JUCO has pushed all their sports to spring, all their fall sports to spring, so they're going to have all their sports in one semester. The Ivy League has canceled all fall sports, but now we're going to get into major top 5 football, the top 5 conferences. The Big Ten and the Pac-12 have already decided to do conference only. So there's 2 that are only doing conferences. They're canceling their first 4 their non-conference games that they have. There were some big matchups, like Oregon was playing somebody in the Big Ten or the SEC. I can't remember, but it was somebody big that they had to play. And I know Alabama had a game in the SEC. It was going to play opening in the Cotton Bowl against somebody, but I don't remember who it was. But it was one of the teams from the Pac-12. I think one of the teams from the Pac-12 or one team from the Big Ten. I can't remember which one. So those games are out. The ACC and the SEC have both said by the end of July they will have their plans in place, whether they're doing conference only or not. I can actually see the ACC and the SEC probably doing kind of a merger, in my opinion, doing a merger where because they have a lot of rivalries between schools that have to be played, like Florida State, my team, the Noles, against our arch nemesis, the Gators, Clemson and South Carolina, North Carolina, who else? Trying to think here. SEC and ACC, there's not that many, I don't think. Georgia Tech, that's another one. So I think some of those will probably stay on. And I mean, I would love to see like old games from like the 80s, like Miami plays South Carolina, Florida State plays LSU, something like that. If they have to do that, that would be pretty cool to see that happen with those teams playing each other. Here's a weird one: North Carolina playing like Auburn or something. I mean, it's something random. I can see the ACC and the SEC, in my opinion, doing like a combined thing where they get those 4 games, keep the rivalry games that are between those two conferences, and go from there. But I also had another idea. We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything about the Big 12 yet, so I don't know what they're doing as of yet either. I have a good idea. Let's say this whole COVID thing gets disbanded and all that, and all the major 5 conferences decide we're gonna do all of our conference games first. Okay, let's say COVID goes away or the numbers go way down, and we're able to have fans back in the stands. You're allowed to travel freely. How about this? I have a good suggestion for the whole NCAA to do. Take those games that they had non-conference with those big matchups, put them at the end of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, wouldn't that be like the greatest resume builder for the college football playoff? To have those big games at the end of the season really determine who the 4 best teams are. Which is kind of thinking outside of the box, but also with the potential of preserving those games and having it where those teams can have fun and play. So there's an idea for college football. Move those non-conference games to the latter end of the season so that you can have that excellent pick and build a nice resume for teams to go to the playoff. I mean, to me, that would separate the 4 teams. As I said in our pilot episode, I believe the 4 best teams are going to be Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and Florida. So I would love to see if those teams can be that elite and separate themselves from the pack and go from there. So I think, with that being said, we should move those non-conference games to the end of the season so we can have a legit, basically mini playoff with outside of the playoff to see how it goes. So that's the news for college football right now, and my idea what we could do with it, something a little bit different but also awesome at the same time. I still think you can have the college football playoff at the normal time. I just don't think if all the teams go conference, how you're going to be able to select the 4 best teams who have not played non-conference opponents, all that. But I have a weird feeling with that other idea that I said with the ACC and the SEC. If they were to do that, that would legitimately put them above everybody else. If the rest of the conferences say, hey, we're not going to play our non-opponents, but ACC and SEC merge to do that to fill those non-conference games, then you got to determine, okay, what if we have 2 teams from the ACC and 2 teams from the SEC both undefeated, and their resumes are perfect? Then that leaves out Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, it would be chaos at that point of how you would select the 4 best teams. But in my opinion, I want to see what happens. I would say my major thing would say move those non-conference games and see what happens and watch how this plays out, because you would have maybe get a surprise team that went undefeated in their conference schedule that you wouldn't think, and then they go in and had one of those games that were canceled in the earlier part of the season and moved, and see how they actually act up against like an Alabama or somebody like that. So that would be kind of interesting to watch. So that's it for college football news. Let's move on to world football, aka soccer. So, as you guys know, Liverpool, of course, did win the Premier League. Good news, people. If you're a fan of Leeds United in the championship, you've been promoted to the Premier League. You won the championship. First time in 16 years. We're going to get good old Leeds back. We're going to get that big stadium hopefully in FIFA 21. All of that's going to be awesome. So having Leeds in there, I think West Brom and West Bromwich Albion and Brentford, I think in the championship will do get out for the second automatic promotion spot, and then after that, who's ever third will play in the playoffs, playoff promotional third spot. So that's pretty cool. Then you got, as we said, some teams are already doing preseason training. I actually saw this the other day because Celtic FC from Scotland went and played. I can't think of the team name in France. One of France's top teams. Went and played them in a friendly at their stadium. With no fans, of course, getting the preseason training in. Apparently, I think PSG is also back at training and all that. Also, another thing, Bundesliga, of course, we know Bayern Munich won that. They're the champions with like a game or two in hand. I think they may even be over with because they started earlier before the Premier League did. So I think they're over with, and they also won the DFB Polska tournament, Open Cup for Germany as well. Then the biggie, Real Madrid separated themselves and has won La Liga. So there's still like a game or two left, but they still won. So we have champions there. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Juventus, I think Juventus has maybe won Serie A. I'm not sure yet, but we will need to check on that information. If not, they are pretty much close to it because I think they have officially separated themselves to be the best. And for the 8th year in a row or 9th year in a row or something like that for them. So, pretty good. So, with that being said, guys, also, big new news. We're also on a new platform. We're also on Facebook. So, By the Bay Sports is now on Facebook. Our profile pic will be our our new logo that we put here in the beginning of the video. So, hopefully you guys don't forget to follow us now on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on TikTok. I don't know how much longer TikTok, because of the whole United States maybe trying to get rid of it. So I don't know how much longer we'll be on TikTok, but we're still on there. Guys, with that being said, Nathan with By the Bay Sports, by a fan for the fans. Catch y'all later.